All right. Today is Monday, November 17th, and as promised, we are continuing and we are going through the running back rankings. We are jumping right into the tier list today. And as I look at it, the more and more I look at it, I'm like, wow, there are a lot of things that I would change. But that's how difficult it was. It took me some time to really come up with this spot. And I might move some things around, say where I'd rather prefer guys, but we're just gonna get right into it. And at the top, I think you all know there are three guys who are above the rest right now. That is Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, and Jonathan Taylor. I have Gibbs as my 1 and Bijan as my 2. I think Taylor is maybe a half step behind them, but I still think that it's pretty clear that these are the top 3 guys that you want to own, the top 3 Dynasty running backs that you want to own in fantasy right now. Jahmyr Gibbs, of course, the monster that he is, while only being 23.7 years old, and then Bijan 23.8, and Jonathan Taylor isn't that old either, 26.8. Of course, he's got some more years under his belt, but still, these are 3 young, productive studs that if you're owning right now, you're not upset with. And I think that that's a pretty clear consensus amongst a large majority of the Dynasty community. I think if we're talking about the guys you want to own, everybody's going to mention these 3. They're all in good offenses. They all have good roles. And they're pretty clearly defined. Of course, we have seen some injury worries with Jonathan Taylor in the past, but still, he's really bounced back and proved that he can be a top guy this year. So now jumping into the next tier, we have Devon Achane, Bucky Irving, Ashton Jeanty, James Cook, Kyren Williams, Breece Hall, and Amari Hampton. The tiers are going to continue to get bigger. I have an S, A, B, C, D, F, UNC tiers once again. And in this A tier here, leading off, we have the 24-year-old Devon Achane out of Miami, who's also a stud. Every time he touches the ball, he's a big play waiting to happen. I think that him and Gibbs now that I think about it more, Gibbs, Robinson, Taylor, and Achane, anytime they touch the ball, it's just a big play waiting to happen. I think these are the four of the most explosive running backs in the league right now. And he's not up to that A tier yet, or that S tier yet. I think he's just outside, and that's the reason why I have him as number 1 in A tier here. Then we've got Bucky Irving, also very young, one of the youngest running backs in the league at 23.2 years old. And he's going to be a staple in that Tampa Bay offense for a while now. Of course, he splits touches at times with Rachaad White, but Bucky Irving also has that touchdown upside, and that's why I've got him right there. Then shortly just behind him, Ashton Jeanty. And this is one where I'm like, okay, these two could definitely be flip-flopped. I could definitely see myself flipping between Jeanty and Irving on a day-to-day basis. But this is just kind of how I ranked it out right now. Ashton Jeanty, 22 years old. We all know about him. Number 1 pick in every rookie draft last year. Ashton Jeanty. And like I said, I think he's pretty comparable. I think this top 6 is really, really tight. But I think that they're all very, very good values. Then, just outside, we've got a guy who's a little bit older, James Cook, 26.1, kind of up there with Taylor. Just consistent and reliable production. Doesn't get hurt much. He's a guy that you want to own. Then I've got Kyren Williams, who's just a bowling ball of a running back. Scores the ball a lot. Gets a lot of touches in that Los Angeles Rams offense. But the main concern with him is that when his contract is up, are they going to re-sign him? Are they going to let him go? Or are they going to roll with Corum? So we're going to see what happens there. Kyren, of course, is 25.2 years old. Then I've got Breece Hall, who I'm a big fan of. 24, and this is a contract year for him. We might be seeing a new situation next year for Breece Hall, and I would not be surprised if he jumps up in the rankings next season, depending on a new situation, potentially Kansas City, which I think would be very interesting given his receiving upside as well. Then we've got Amari Hampton, and this is a guy where I was like, I cannot believe I ranked him this far back. I think you could argue putting him in front of Cook. I think you could argue putting him in front of Bucky. Amari Hampton is an absolute stud, but he's just struggled to stay healthy. So far this season, he's going to be coming back soon, but that's why I have him right here at the end of A tier. So I think that if you have any of these running backs, you're in a great spot, not only for the present, but also for the future. So now is where it gets really, really, really tough. moving down into B tier, I've got some aging running backs here. I've got some young running backs here. It was just a tough ranking, and I tried to be as honest with myself. I love young running backs, but I'm like, okay, clear-cut, proven production also has heavyweight in this situation. So I tried to be honest with myself. Who would I want to own? So leading off the B tier, let's jump right into it. We've got Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown, Travion Henderson, Derrick Henry, and Quinshon Judkins. Now, looking back on it, there's one guy where I'm like, what was I thinking putting him here? And that's Chase Brown. I think Chase Brown belongs in the next tier. But I lost this file, so I couldn't go back and edit it. But I think that Chase Brown belongs in the tier below. And the one guy that you could argue for being in the tier above, I would say, is Travion Henderson. I think that he's made a really good case over the past couple of weeks in his new kind of defined RB1 role. But right now, I just want to see a little bit more. I think one more good game, and yeah, he's up there with those. Christian McCaffrey, you know that this guy is going to continually ball out. He's done it for years on years, and he's getting better at staying healthy, but also he's 29.4 years old. So it's hard for me to put him up in the tier with the guys up there in A. Same thing goes for Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs. They're all getting up there in age. I'm just going to go through their ages quick. We've got Christian, who's 29.4, Saquon, 28.8, Josh Jacobs, 27.8, and then Derrick Henry is 31.9. Yes, all these guys are getting up there in age, but they have proven year in, year out that they are able to produce. Chase Brown, 25.7. Yes, he's pretty young. But based on the production this year, I think that he could definitely drop down into the tier below. Then Judkins, of course, 22 years old. One of the youngest running backs, if not the youngest running back in the league with Ashton Jeanty. Just turned 22 years old. And I think he belongs here as well. I've been seeing Dynasty Domain. I mean, they're a very, very popular content creation platform from the Flock Dynasty organization, or Flock Fantasy orgs. And I saw that they were saying sell Judkins, which I thought was interesting. Sell him for like a first-round pick. And I don't know. I think it's too early to tell with him. He's got a lot of upside. Really exciting. And he's in that Cleveland offense, which is just kind of like fun. Looking at all the pieces and all the weapons they have. I like that Cleveland offense. So that's kind of the B tier. And like I said, I would drop Chase Brown down, and maybe move up Henderson, maybe move up Judkins a little bit. But that's the only thing I'd say right now. Now, moving into the C tier, we've got some younger guys. We've got some older guys. Some younger guys who haven't proven as much, but have really high upside, in my opinion. And we've also got some elite twos, is how I would describe them. Or him. Now, on a second thought, there's only one. But here it is. Cam Scattaboo, Alvin Kamara, Kenneth Walker, the third, RJ Harvey, Travis Etienne Jr., Trey Benson, DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard, David Montgomery, Elite 2, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, and Rico Dowdle. Now, this group, like I said, as we keep moving on, it gets more and more difficult. So, with this group, I think you can make the argument that Scattaboo and Kamara belong up. But Scattaboo getting hurt kind of is what bumps him down for me. Kamara is getting up there in age as well. I'm just going to check his age. I have it somewhere very close by. Alvin Kamara. He is 30.3. Wow, I did not realize he was that old. But still, in Dynasty Fantasy Football, it's very, very important to have a running back with receiving upside. So that's just why I've got him there. Kenneth Walker, who's been very disappointing this year. I think you could argue for him to be much lower, 25.1 years old. But I've got him there, and it's also a contract year for him. So we might be seeing a change of scenery as well. RJ Harvey, who is 24.8. He's the oldest of this rookie running back class, I believe. But he's been a touchdown scorer. He's been scoring a lot of touchdowns in Denver. And I think that over the years, not over the years, I should say, with J.K. Dobbins out for the rest of the year, I think that he is going to produce on a very, very high level throughout the rest of the season. Then we've got Travis Etienne, who's been up and down at times. But still, I'm a fan of Etienne, 26.8 years old. Trevor Lawrence loves him. College teammates, they have a great relationship. And I think the offense really trusts him. I think Liam Cohen trusts him. And once again, he's got that receiving upside that really boosts him. Then here's one that I'm really interested. Trey Benson. we haven't really had a chance to really see him. 23.3 years old. He's pretty young, one of the younger ones from last year's class. But he's been stuck behind James Conner, who's been playing great in his time in Arizona. James Conner, unfortunately, goes out for the season with, I think it was an ACL. Would have been Trey Benson's time, and he gets thrown on injured reserve. But he's nearing a return, so I think that we are going to really see the truth of Trey Benson. He's got good size. He's got good speed. So I'm just excited to see him play. Then we've got DeAndre Swift, who's also a little bit older, and this is a guy that I think also you could argue is a O-line merchant. Saw that in Philly. Kind of seeing that with that revamped O-line in Chicago. 26.8 years old, almost 27. But I've got him right here in the tier. I think he's on the same level right now as guys like Pollard, Montgomery, or Pollard, who I should say next. Pollard, who you look at, he's getting up there. I don't know, what is he? He's got to be, I'm going to guess, 28. Yes, 28.6. This one's kind of a tough one for me, but I think he's going to be the lead back next year as well in Tennessee. I know Tyjae Spears is lurking, but that's for in very short time. So now we're going to get into the first elite, 1 of 2. I don't think you're starting a second running back the way that people are starting David Montgomery. He's 1 of 1, 28.4 years old. I think he's one of the most valuable assets as like a backup running back. Say Jahmyr Gibbs were to anytime go down, I think David Montgomery becomes a top 10 fantasy running back. He's got that touchdown upside, and he's the Frankenback. That one meme of him, that's David Montgomery. So he fits here because if he got a chance, I think he would flourish. It's really interesting seeing like kind of how he evolved from that role in Chicago into what he is now. Then we've got Ja'Cory Krusky-Merritt, who I think we've spoken about him earlier. 24.6. He's a little bit older, but just a very unique situation out of college. He's the lead back, or somewhat lead back in Washington, but it's been kind of a disappointment. But we're not closing the door on him yet. He's a rookie with a defined role. And then we've got Rico Dowdle, 27 years old. Kind of a weird situation. Couldn't get it done, or maybe they just didn't trust him in Dallas, and then he's just flourishing this year in Carolina. So that's to round out that tier. Really big tier, really tough to rank, and but I think they all belong for one reason or another. They all have qualities, whether it's their youth, receiving upside, or just skill as a running back that makes them belong here. Now in the D tier, we're getting to a special one. I say Montgomery, he's an elite 2. This D tier is dedicated to other elite 2s. So we've got Zach Charbonnet, who I think is leading the pack, Ollie Gordon Jr., Blake Corum, Rachaad White, Chuba Hubbard, Kyle Monangai, Bashal Tutin, Braylon Allen, and Tyjae Spears. I think Charbonnet, Corum, White, they've all proved that they can sustain RB1 workload. Chuba Hubbard, of course, as well, who was like the breakout running back in that Carolina room last year, and now it's Rico Dowdle, which is just the weirdest thing. Like, it's still the weirdest thing that we witnessed. But yeah, it was it was definitely something. We got all these guys here. They're all fairly young, with the exception of Hubbard, who I think might be 26. The rest are fairly young. And I think that if the circumstance arrives, I think that all of those guys are going to prove that they can be a lead back in the NFL. Kyle Monangai is kind of the one question mark, but I'm pretty confident in everybody else in this tier. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Young, high upside, just haven't had the chance to really prove it, or don't have the role at this moment. Rachaad White is also an exemption, kind of with Hubbard there. Now into the next one. I think these are some running backs in just complicated situations. So we've got Javonte Williams, a lot of question marks surrounding him in that Dallas offense. Isaiah Pacheco just hasn't been the same. I don't think they have that trust. I think Kansas City is in the market for a new running back next season. I've got Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. Aaron Jones is really old. He's part of that legendary 2017 draft class with guys like McCaffrey, Kamara, my sweet king Prince, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, all those dudes. But it's just injury history, and also he's got Jordan Mason right there, so that kind of takes away a little bit of that touchdown upside. But he is a receiver, still viable, but it's just hard to rank him upside or above this based on his question marks moving forward and split touches with Jordan Mason. So I've got them right around the same spot, with Jordan Mason, of course, having a higher upside due to his touchdown potential and younger age. Then we've got Ramondre Stevenson, Would have been higher. Would have been up in that C or Elite 2s range. But I mean, just lack of consistency from him. Fumbles the ball a lot, and he's going to be not playing as much now with Henderson really cementing himself, proving that he can sustain that RB1 workload. And then this one's just a pity placement. I just feel bad for the guy, Caleb Johnson. No other Steelers. It was just making me sad to even consider putting other Steelers running backs. But for how much potential and there is right now with Caleb Johnson, it just sucks that he hasn't been like really like, I don't know if given a fair shot would be the way to say it. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. I'm not at camp. I'm not at practice, so I don't know how things are working for him. But just the hype for him was really exciting. One of my favorite prospects. I really like, in one of my drafts, I thought about taking him over Judkins and Travis Hunter. I considered it. Thank goodness I didn't. But I would love to see Caleb Johnson get unleashed soon. And then in the honorary Unk tier this week, we've only got one guy, and that's James Conner. I still think he's got a couple more years in him. I don't know how much he's going to be able to produce. But I still think he's got some more in him. He was playing great last season in Arizona, played great this season until he was hurt. So that's going to round out the tier list. Now, like I said, this is one of the hardest things I've had to do on this channel. And it's Dynasty Fantasy Football. Things change every single day. But, oh my gosh, I'm just glancing back at my screen. Ollie Gordon is 21.8 years old. That is incredible. I cannot believe how young he is. Who else was down there with him? And Braylon Allen, I meant. Braylon Allen and Ollie Gordon. Braylon Allen's a 2-year vet. Yeah, he got drafted at like 20 years old. Incredible. Like, that's like my age. I could be in the NFL right now, which is just crazy to think about. True freshman at Wisconsin. But yeah, that rounds out the tier list. Running backs are just so exciting. The market is always it's just always a battle out there to get guys like this. And anywhere, to own a running back is to own value that could shoot up or shoot down at any moment. So this is where I'm sitting right now. Sound off in the comments. I'd love to hear your recommendations. And like I said, this is probably going to change. It already has changed, but it's going to continue to change. It's a always evolving list. So that's what I've got for today. We're going to be back Wednesday. Or no. We're going to be back tomorrow. And we're going to do the rookie rankings. We're going to take a look at next year's rookie class. So we're going to just kind of do our research on them, catch up on them. We're not going to rank them because, to be honest, I haven't really dived in. So we're going to do it and make it a video. So that's all I got for today. And you guys take care.